Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to a very special edition of the Cerebral Smack Talk live on YouTube.com and StreamYard.com. It is good old MF Michael Fletcher alongside Anthony Floyo and alongside Michael Bullock. And tonight we are going to recap SmackDown Live as always, and we will be doing that in just a matter of moments. However, tonight we would like to take a minute to celebrate, to think about, and to remember one of the all time greats in the world of professional wrestling, the ring announcer of our generation, the ring announcer of many people. And basically, before there was a Lillian Garcia, before there was a Tommy Chimmel, before there was a Justin Roberts, before there was a Craig Hamilton, Mike Rowe, JoJo Offerman, whoever, David Penzer, there were two iconic ring announcers in the world of professional wrestling. One was Gary Michael Capetta. The other was Howard Finkel of the World Wrestling Federation. Unfortunately, on the Bloody Wednesday, that caused a whole bunch of heartache and misery and pain of everybody that was being fired and let go. This one fell through the cracks. Howard Finkel passing away at the age of 69. Now, Howard was definitely sick basically in his later years, and many people thought that about a year or so ago that it was really getting bad. A lot of people thought that they thought he was going to pass away about a year ago. However, Howard did pass away due to natural causes. So it wasn't because of the coronavirus. It was not COVID-19 that claimed his life. However, Howard Finkel will be remembered as the voice of the World Wrestling Federation, the ring announcer, the man that got to ring announce legendary names, from Bruno Sammartino to Hulk Hogan to The Warrior to Macho Man to Bret Hart to Shawn Michaels to Stone Cold Steve Austin to The Rock, Cena, Undertaker, Orton, Triple H. You name it, he's done it. It meant the world to these wrestlers, and every single one of them has talked about testimonials, given their heartfelt thoughts and prayers to Howard's family. And Howard Finkel, without a doubt, is one of those voices that you can ever remember. From the way that he always used to ring announce it, to when he always used to declare the new champion by basically saying, and new! Whatever the case may be, he is one that we will always remember. He was our childhood. He was our legacy. And as long as we will remember him, this is what an icon and a legend was. Howard Finkel was that and then some. For us, Superstars of Wrestling Challenge, this was our ring announcer. And unfortunately, that voice has been silenced. However, even though he's no longer with us, he will always be in our hearts and in our minds. I'll steal the great line from in the movie The Sandlot. There are heroes and then there are legends. Heroes are remembered, but legends never die. Howard Finkel was more than a hero to all of us. He was a legend and an icon. And his legacy and memories will live on forever in the annals of time. There's really nothing more for me to say. Anthony Florio, the professor of our group, it is all yours, my friend.
Yes, thank you very much indeed, MF. I mean, yeah, I mean, we're living in hard times right now. You know, with the ongoing nightmare that's plagued our country and our state and the whole everything. But with World Wrestling Entertainment, I mean, my God, what a hard week. I mean, first the Black Wednesday, having to furlough and lay off all of those great men and women, including another long tenured employee, Mike Chioda. But it's not about that. And we thought it couldn't get any worse than that. Well, it did. And just yesterday, upon hearing the news about this, I mean, Derek Ferreira, he reported it on his Facebook, and the rest, as they say, is history. And yes, he was the voice of a generation. He was our ring announcer back in the day. I mean, and MF, you said it absolutely right. If it wasn't for this man, there would never have been a Lillian Garcia. There never would have been a Justin Roberts. There never would have been a Tony Chimmel. There never would have been a Greg Hamilton or a Michael Rome or a JoJo Offerman or anybody who was, or even a Brandy Rhodes, Eden Styles, or even Dasha Fuentes, or however she goes by in AEW. But this man, let me tell you, the very first employee of WWE, very first, who gave us so many memorable moments, the man who also coined the term WrestleMania. You ever wonder how WrestleMania got its name? Howard Finkel came up with the name of WrestleMania. He derived it from the Beatles when the Beatles came to America in 1964. He said, well, they had Beatlemania. How about WrestleMania? I learned that off of the wonderful documentary that WWE put together, one of their many incredible documentaries called The True Story of WrestleMania, which you can see on the WWE Network, or if you have the DVD set, which I do, it's in my archives. But man, what will he be best known for? MF said it. And new. Those are the two words. If anybody ever asks you, when you think of Howard Finkel, what comes to mind? If you play a word association, those are the two words. And new. WWE's very first employee, hired in 1975 by Vince McMahon's father, Vince McMahon Sr. That was back when it was the WWF, the Worldwide Wrestling Federation. Made his debut on January the 17th of 1977. And by 1979, he had become the organization's lead ring announcer for their biggest events. And he became the first official employee of WWE on April 1st of 1980, and had been the longest lasting employee until his passing. 40 years of Howard Finkel moments. And new, obviously, and he came up with the event of WrestleMania, and he also was the man responsible for Ricky Steamboat becoming Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. I did not even know that. I just found that out. And January of 87, another late great, Mean Gene Okerlund, presented Howard Finkel a plaque for commemorating 10 years on the job in Madison Square Garden. And then WrestleMania 9, Finkus Maximus, you remember that when he was in the toga? 95, he had to take a 7-month hiatus from ring announcing on pay-per-views and TV, replaced by Manny Garcia. But then he came back in the Royal Rumble of 96. And he wasn't just a ring announcer. He was also involved in some storylines, particularly the one that that we best remember, the infamous angle with Harvey Whippleman, when he would introduce Harvey Whippleman in a sarcastic tone. Dr. Harvey Whippleman. And Harvey Whippleman would just give him the business. And the most memorable moment, obviously, was WrestleMania 10. We all remember Harvey Whippleman, what he said. We're not going to get into that because that would be disrespecting, but you know what he said. So we'll leave it at that. And then, of course, 1998 SummerSlam, when earlier in the night, Jeff Jarrett and Southern Justice cut his head. They shaved his head, and he came back. He came out with X-Pac for his match against Jeff Jarrett, and X-Pac won, and he had a hand in that. Coming out with the DX garb, and then, of course, he also came out with as a bushwhacker on a Monday Night Raw, an early Monday Night Raw, and of course, who will ever forget that great angle that he had with Lillian Garcia in the summer of 2002 that also involved Trish Stratus and also even involved for a time Stacy Keibler, and which led he also had a couple of tuxedo matches. He had a tuxedo match with Harvey Whippleman, had a tuxedo versus evening gown match with Lillian Garcia in Madison Square Garden the night after SummerSlam in 2002, when he had that brief run as a heel. And you remember SummerSlam in 02 when he said, "I've been here since WrestleMania 2. Well, my first event since WrestleMania 2. But of course, one of the great funny moments that Howard Finkel was a part of, and one that MF and I hold near and dear to our hearts, WrestleMania 5. We apologize for the audio difficulties. We all remember that. And, there are just so many memories you can come up with. All those times he said, "and new World Wrestling Federation champion, Intercontinental champion, World Heavyweight champion." Of course, during the original brand extension, MF, I know this is another one that I know you hold near and dear to your heart. Whenever he would introduce a champion for a championship match, he would always put an emphasis on the word "the World Heavyweight champion" or "the so-and-so champion." And MF, you always did that. And let me tell you, folks, MF, when it comes to his impressions, one of the greatest impressions MF ever did was of Howard Finkel when we used to hang out. I mean, he would always put the emphasis on "and new" and all the great Finkel catchphrases. And it's just a damn shame. I mean, Derek Ferreira said it best in his tribute video. This 2020 is far and away the biggest year of hard times we've ever seen. And trust me when I tell you, it's not going to get better anytime soon. Believe me. I mean, this has been a hard enough year as it is. With the sudden passing of NBA Commissioner David Stern, the tragic passing of Kobe Bryant, coronavirus running wild, and now this. I mean, 2021 cannot come fast enough. I mean, I've already thrown in the towel for this year. Derek's already thrown in the towel for this year. But, and
you can count me in on it too.
I think we all feel that way as well, especially with our current situation. But all I know is this ranks right up there as one of the most close to home deaths we've had in a long time. I mean, this is close to home right here. I mean, you remember how sad we were about Mean Gene a year ago, and now a year and a quarter later, we're saying goodbye to Howard Finkel. And of course, those two have a lot of history. I mean, Royal Rumble 1989, Howard Finkel introduces them. They share an embrace in the middle of the ring. Jesse Ventura said, "Did you get a load of that?" I mean, that was a funny moment right there, and because they did look a lot alike. But you name any moment, the very first WrestleMania, Howard Finkel, you remember he said it, "Welcome to WrestleMania," and that's it. So, I mean, I could go on and on and on about all those memorable and new moments. I mean, Ricky Steamboat at WrestleMania 3 when he won the Intercontinental title, the emphasis he put in on that. And, of course, when he introduced the Ultimate Warrior as the new champion at WrestleMania 6 after he beat Hogan. I mean, just amazing. And of course, in he got to take his rightful place into the WWE Hall of Fame, the class of 2009, one of the greatest classes of all time, along with the likes of Stone Cold Steve Austin and Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, just to name a couple. And of course, when when he was a lackey of Chris Jericho, I mean, when Jericho would always call him Harold, I mean, that was a moment. And one of his last big moments on WWE television was at the 2011 Survivor Series when CM Punk brought him in as his personal ring announcer to combat Ricardo Rodriguez for Alberto Del Rio. And on that night, CM Punk won the WWE Championship and began that historic 434-day run that did not end until the 2013 Royal Rumble. But I mean, Fink was in a backstage role, but one other thing that really that was really awesome for me, of course, he also did the voiceover for the introduction of Miz and Morrison's Dirt Sheet, but one of the last great things he ever did was at WrestleMania, for all those WrestleManias, when he would introduce the WWE, when he would do the introductions for all the Hall of Famers, when they would do that Hall of Fame ceremony, which has become, well, up until this year, from 20 until last year, a WrestleMania tradition. And that always, gave me a sentimental feeling whenever he did that. I mean, when I watch back all the WrestleManias on the road to WrestleMania, that's one thing I always watch in its entirety. That special Hall of Fame ceremony, especially when Howard did the introductions. I mean, chills. That's all I can say on that. I mean, and yep. So Legends House, we all know that he was on that, and of course he also did some work with the Edge and Christian show, and the 25th anniversary of. Now here's an interesting story that at a Raw 25, he was supposed to introduce The Undertaker, but it was a recording because he couldn't make the event. But he had been battling health issues for the last year, ever since the stroke that he had in February of 2019. And WWE Hall of Fame class of 2009, and then in 2018 was inducted into the Wrestling Observer Newsletter Hall of Fame, and rightfully so. So really nothing more to say on this. I mean, those were, the moments that stand out for me. And, we could go all night about this, but we don't have that kind of time. So on behalf of all of us here at the Wrestling Forum on the Cerebral Smack Talk, on behalf of MF and Bullock and Didi, we want to send our thoughts and our prayers and our condolences to the family, the friends, and all of the wonderful men and women in World Wrestling Entertainment that had the pleasure of working with Howard Finkel. And you've seen the outpouring of support and emotion on social media, from Vince McMahon to Stephanie McMahon and Triple H and all the Hall of Famers and legends, Ted DiBiase, Edge, Hogan, so many others. That's it. So and as I always say, my customary saying that I got from the from that WrestleMania special that they did before WrestleMania 8. Well, all I know is Howard Finkel, all of us here would like to very simply say thank you for the memories, thank you for the inspiration, and thank you for Howard Finkel, the Fink. Rest in peace, sir. Really nothing more to say. Michael Bullock, a living legend who will never be forgotten. I'll never forget 2009 Hall of Fame. I am a new WWE Hall of Famer.
Yeah, I'll never forget that too. I mean, the first ever employee of the World Wrestling Federation. I mean, he's ring announced a lot of good matches in the past. I mean, yeah, I'll always remember when he would always say, and no. And of course, there were a couple of times he did that for my favorite wrestler, The Undertaker, where he would say, and new World Wrestling Federation Champion, The Undertaker. I mean, if that doesn't give you chills, I don't know what will. And I mean, it goes on and on. I mean, like Florio said, we could spend here all night talking about it, but yeah, I mean, he gets inducted into the Hall of Fame in 2009, and I think it was starting in 2006 where he got to introduce every 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 year he got to introduce a Hall of Fame class. I think it was up until WrestleMania 33. I think it was when because I think it was like right around 33. It was Greg Hamilton who did it. And 34, it was I think it was JoJo Offerman who did it. But before that, it was Howard Finkel who always did it. So and all the funny things he did. Basically from hanging around with the Bushwhackers to being with Chris Jericho, and he was an honorary member of D Generation X, getting to be CM Punk's personal ring announcer. I mean, yeah. So yeah, I mean, our thoughts and prayers and condolences go out to the friends and family of Howard Finkel. So we'll miss you, man. Dee Dee Woodson, it's yours.
Yeah, he's really going to be missed. He, as long as I can remember, I've watched Howard Finkel as an announcer, and I mean it's sad. I mean he did a lot for the business. I mean, a lot of the announcers that we have now, we wouldn't have now probably because of people that came in before them, and of course, Fink being one of them. Many, many great memories. But I'm not going to sit here and talk about every single one of them because I mean that we'd be here all night long. There's just too many. But yeah, just genuine announcer, just great on the mic. And I don't have too much more to say. I mean, you guys said most of it, so Fletch, it's yours.
Yeah, it's been an emotional day, and no doubt about it. And again, our thoughts and prayers are with Howard Finkel's family. And with that said, we're just gonna move right along, guys. So it's time for SmackDown Live. It's time for what we normally do every Friday night, and we started it off with a moment of bliss with the WWE Women's Tag Team Champions Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross both in the ring. And tonight, their guest that they had, well, the Universal Champion, the Monster Among Men, Braun Strowman. So they get into an interview. Alexa and Braun basically has a little chit chat. Nikki kind of, I don't know if Nikki got really involved in it much, but then there was a little something in the corner. So you're like, okay, oh, cool. A little gift. It looks like a present. So Strowman's thinking, hey, Alexa, you got something for me? Because, okay, if you guys watched the Mixed Match Challenge a few years ago, there was a little bit of tension, as you can say, between Alexa Bliss and Braun Strowman. And it really got very interesting because at the time, there was times where we were thinking, oh man, are they gonna like? It sounded like they were gonna hook up or something. Honest to God, like the way they were doing it, it was definitely Beauty and the Beast, no doubt about it. But it looked like they were before there was Otis and Mandy. You could say it was Alexa and Braun. And just the way they were interacting with each other and everything else, honest to God, it was pretty. It was funny. It was cute. It was a little bizarre and creepy in some areas. So whatever. Okay. So Braun thought Alexa got him a gift, maybe a congratulations for winning the Universal title. And Alexa's like, no, I didn't get you anything. No, that's not from me. So Braun kind of hesitates, opens the box. It's Anthony's favorite thing that was back in the day of the Wyatt family. Go ahead, Floyo, say it. I know you wanna.
Sheep mask, sheep mask, sheep mask.
It was the dreaded sheep mask. And the next thing you know, the voiceover laugh of Bray Wyatt. Oh, boy. Well. Okay. This was very interesting. And I love the playback to the old Wyatt family. That was a very calculated and smart move by WWE. Now, I know a lot of people are poo-pooing over this because they're saying, oh, Strowman is an idiot. Why did he fall for that? That's a stupid move to do. Okay, I get that. But, again, I'm going to say this. Storyline progression. And I think that's the key word here, is that this was a great storyline progression move because of the fact that, it shows the depth of Bray Wyatt. It shows how the depth of him and how he's such a master manipulator more than anything else. For two, it also brings more to the table because now he's trying to get into Braun's head. Remember, last week, Braun threw the first salvo and basically dared him. All of a sudden, Bray comes back and he's like, be careful what you wish for, boy, because I am more than you think. Remember, you're the student. I'm the teacher. Well, son, Braun, tonight, you just learned quite a lesson by the teacher. That was quite a lesson you just took. And now it's very interesting to see how this plays out. I like this. I really like this. Nothing more to say. This was beautifully done. Now, I know a lot of people poo-pooed over this, and I get it. But I thought this was brilliantly done in under the circumstances. Anthony Floyo, it's yours.
And you forgot to mention something there, MF. Money in the Bank pay-per-view. It is official. It will be Braun Strowman and The Fiend Bray Wyatt for the Universal Championship. That's official.
Yes, it is.
So we'll see what happens come Mother's Day night. But for right now, I'm with MF on this. This was a simple but effective segment when Strowman seemed confident but was not ready for Wyatt's mind games. The WWE Universal Champion may feel ready to be his own man, but it's always difficult to forget your past. The story continues to build in unique fashion, and it'll be fun to see just what both men do to keep this story as interesting and intriguing as possible. So that's really my 2 cents on it. So good startup, and we have a couple more weeks to build it up before we get to Money in the Bank. So really nothing more to say. Michael Bullock, simple but effective segment to start this show tonight.
Yeah, it was a simple but effective segment. I mean, Braun Strowman thought he would be ready, but Bray Wyatt is showing everyone why he's the master of the mind games these days now. And what he did by putting the sheep mask in there in that gift was this was basically his way of saying, "Hey, Braun, you were the student and I'm the teacher." So yeah, it's going to happen at Money in the Bank, and I know a lot of people are probably going to be saying, I mean, because we all think that that Bray Wyatt's going to once again be Universal Champion, and I know a lot of people are going to probably disagree with us because they're probably saying, wait a minute, you finally put the Universal title on Braun Strowman, only to have him lose it at Money in the Bank. But the thing is, Bray Wyatt would be a more is a more better would be a more better Universal Champion than Braun Strowman. I hate to say it. So nothing more to say. Dee Woodson, it is yours.
Yeah. Oh boy. Um. It was definitely some segment. I mean, going out there and then all of a sudden he gets this present and it's the sheep mask. Yeah, kind of the blast from the past. You bring up the history and hear Bray laughing. Um, if you remember back to when Bray was going against Miz, he was talking about rebuilding his family. And of course, we all know Strowman was part of the family. So, is this somehow connected to that? Are we going back to that stage? Are we going, to take this that far back into WWE history to where we're going back to where he did fight Miz and was talking about the family and stuff? Or is this, just his new mind game that he's picked for Strowman? We'll find out later, I'm sure, but not much more I'm going to say. It was a good segment, so it's yours, Fletch.
And then with that, we're going to move on to the in-ring action. The first fight of the night was one of the more highly profiled matches of the evening. Tamina going one-on-one with Sasha Banks. If Tamina wins the match, Tamina will receive a SmackDown Women's title match against Bayley sometime down the line. Well, the winner of the bout in roughly 9 minutes was Tamina. She wins. She is now officially the #1 contender for the SmackDown Women's title, which means Bayley, meet your next opponent. Anthony Florio, it is all yours.
I'm not at all surprised, MF. I'm not. I had a feeling that Tamina was going to win this match, and it's very simple. Bayley needs another challenger of the month, and that's exactly what they did here. And this was a great way to set Tamina up as just that, the next challenger of the month for Bayley. We all know what the ultimate plan is. The plan is for it to be Bayley and Sasha, and I think we all agree it's all going to culminate at SummerSlam, wherever it is. We hope and pray it's in Boston, but with the way things are going right now, it's probably going to be where it has been for the last month, and that's the Performance Center. But you never know. But all I know is 2 to 2.5 stars is my rating for this. I mean, it was a fine match, but completely unremarkable. Tamina has worked better in her current role than any time in the past 5 years, but she's still not able to do much in the ring. She just stays on her feet while her opponent works around her. Sasha may be good enough to make that work, but the tension never ramped up. It was always obvious that Tamina would win, and hopefully Bayley and Tamina has more of a story behind it. But Bullock and I, Michael Bullock and I, we had our SmackDown chat like we always do, and we noticed a little something. when Lacey Evans came down, Lacey Evans getting involved, she took Bayley out. And you noticed, Bullock and I noticed, Sasha had a little bit of a little smirk on her face. She had like a little grin on her face there. What could that possibly mean? But anyways,
I smell something.
You smell a rat, right?
Yeah, I smell a rat.
Yeah. So Bullock will get more into that in just a moment when I give it to him. But all I know is a solid, not overly spectacular match. I'll give it 2, maybe 2.5 at the absolute best. And with Tamina winning, I gotta channel my inner Luigi PS3 on this one. Tamina. And I'm sure that she probably did that in her video this evening, I'm sure. So wouldn't surprise me if she did it. So there's really nothing more to say. Michael Bullock, no big surprise with the outcome. Tamina gets the biggest opportunity of her career, a title shot, but we all know she's not going to beat Bayley at Money in the Bank. And yes, Bullock, don't forget, what did we see? What did we see after Lacey attacked Bayley? Sasha had that little smirk on her face. You pointed that out to me.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna give it 2.5 as well. It was a solid but unspectacular match here. I mean, Florio basically mentioned everything about it, but yeah, I mean, Florio and I saw something during the match when Lacey Evans came out to stop Bayley from interfering. I noticed that there was a little smirk on the face of Sasha Banks. I smell a rat. Could this be continuing the planting of the seeds of the potential breakup of Bayley and Sasha? Because remember, last week when Bayley said, if you want a shot at the title, you're gonna have to go through Sasha Banks, and Sasha had the look on her face of like what? I mean, and I think when Lacey Evans, I think I saw Sasha with that little smirk. I don't know if Fletch, if you noticed it. I don't know if Dee Woodson noticed it, but I got a feeling this is continuing the planting of the seeds of a potential breakup with Bayley and Sasha, and I think Bayley's going to be the one that's going to stab Sasha in the back. That's just my gut opinion on it, but we'll wait and see. So 2.5, Dee Woodson, it's yours.
Yeah, I can agree with the rating, and yeah, I'm almost certain, this is going to fall apart eventually. Because, I mean, how many times have we talked about the fact that Bayley has not been there for Sasha the same way Sasha has been there for her. She'll leave her in the ring to just to take the fall. She won't. If something's going on with Sasha, if Sasha's in trouble, she really doesn't want to go out there to save her. So, it's going to happen. It's more than likely sooner than later. So, not much more you can expect other than that. So, yeah, I don't have much more to say on it. So it's yours, Fletch.
All right, guys. Yeah, I did see it. I did notice what you were talking about, Michael Bullock. It was very interesting. But for what it's worth, there's really nothing more for me to add here. I think they did a decent job here. So we're just gonna move right along. Then we had a Sheamus squash fight. He went against Denzel Dojonet. Beat him in a minute 5. Yawn, whatever. We move right along. Next up we had was the Money in the Bank qualifying match, as it was Dana Brooke going one-on-one against Naomi, and the winner of the bout in 4 minutes and 10 seconds and qualifying for the Women's Money in the Bank, Dana Brooke. Yes, Dana Brooke with a huge upset win. Naomi falls and loses. Dana Brooke is now qualified for Money in the Bank. And if you notice, guys, this year's Money in the Bank is this is a brand new concept. This is totally different from the traditional Money in the Bank, because this year's Money in the Bank is going to be fought in Titan Towers in Stamford, Connecticut. They will start at the ground level, and the Money in the Bank briefcase will be at the roof of the building, and the first to claim it wins Money in the Bank. Very interesting concept, to say the very least. And Michael Bullock, what a huge upset. Dana Brooke, of all people, she just punched her ticket to Money in the Bank.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't see this coming. I mean, I was originally thinking, oh, Naomi's gonna win because she's probably more deserving. But wow, Dana Brooke with the biggest win of her career up to this point. I mean, she's now earned herself a ticket to the women's Money in the Bank ladder match, and she joins for Monday Night Raw. Shayna Baszler, Nia Jax, and who else was it for? I feel like I'm trying to remember.
It was Asuka.
My favorite angry Japanese girl. You know that.
Yeah. All right, yeah. Yeah, so Dana Brooke with the biggest win of her career up to this point. I'm only gonna give it 1.5 stars for the rating. Yeah, there's nothing more to say. Dee Woodson, it's yours.
Where are we? The Money in the Bank match?
Yeah, the Money in the Bank match.
Yeah. Dana Brooke and Naomi.
Yeah, I'll give it probably about 2 stars. It was short. It was okay. Not much to say though. You know, it's kind of surprised that Dana, they pulled Dana and put her into this. You know, gave her the win. So not much more I'm going to say on it. So it's yours.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Dana Brooke winning the match, a huge upset. Nobody saw this coming. I'm with Dee. 2 stars for my rating, just because of the upset factor. I think that's really the reason why you would do that. Dana Brooke, very underestablished, not really a big name. And the thing is that you kind of have a feeling like right now they're really putting the best women out there. And I think Naomi's more deserving than Dana. But the thing is that at least they're giving her a chance. I think that's the best way to say it. Look at the 3 on Monday Night Raw. They're all powerhouses. I think SmackDown is trying to be what they've always been, the land of opportunity. And for Dana Brooke, this is an opportunity of a lifetime for her. And for her to make Money in the Bank, congratulations, well deserved, great honor for her. And I truly believe that this is a great opportunity for her. Do we think she's going to win it? Absolutely not. She is not the favorite. She's probably not going to win it. But just to be in Money in the Bank, to be in the match, is an accomplishment in itself. And under these new rules and this new, I guess you could say, this new setup for Money in the Bank, climbing up the corporate ladder is what they were calling it as. And you saw the layout of, I think, did they do a layout or a presentation of what the Money in the Bank ladder match is going to look like this year, guys?
No, they just had a little a photo of the respective champions. I saw Bayley, I saw Charlotte, I saw Braun and Drew, but one champion that was noticeably missing was Becky. I don't understand why.
Becky Lynch.
Because I'm thinking, I mean, Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but whoever wins, I mean, they can go after the champion of their choosing. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's right. They can go after the Raw, SmackDown,
NXT,
possibly NXT if they
Charlotte,
see fit.
Charlotte's face was on that graphic as well as Bailey, but I did not see Becky. But I did see Braun and Drew on the men's side, so that's very interesting. Could whoever wins could they end up going after Bailey or Charlotte and leaving Becky alone?
Maybe that's just a minor mistake. Maybe that was maybe that was a graphic error. You'd never know. We'll have to wait and see. One thing's for sure: if the Raw title is now out of play, I gotta say that because if they didn't show Becky Lynch and they didn't show Becky, does that honestly? Because if you take that equation out, I don't think the Raw women's winning now. Then why would you have those 3 women fighting in the Money in the Bank in the first place? Wouldn't that defeat the purpose? Honestly?
Yeah, you make a good point on that. I mean,
that would literally defeat the purpose.
I mean,
then what's the point? What is the point of Shayna Baszler being in there? What would be the point of Asuka being in the fight if the Raw Women's title is not involved?
Yeah, exactly. Like you said, Fletch. I mean, if Becky Lynch is not on there, then I'm just going to say, why even bother having those 3 in there from Monday Night Raw? Because if you just have the SmackDown and the NXT women's titles, if you're going to go by that, why not have 3 women from NXT be on there instead of the 3 from Raw?
I think that was just a graphical mistake. I'm just throwing it out there. I'm not saying that I know something that we don't know. I'm just leaving it at that.
But if it's true, then WWE is going to come under scrutiny.
Anyway, who did Didi get a chance to talk, or Anthony?
Didi did. I didn't.
Okay, then go ahead, Florio.
I'm actually going to give it 2.5 stars, and I'm also going to call it my sleeper fight of the night. I mean, this was a fun athletic showcase between 2 talented women in need of a real opportunity. It told a great story, even if it was short, as Dana Brooke was outmatched, but she refused to give up. It felt like a huge moment when she managed to pull out the win. Dana Brooke has a perfect opportunity to make an impact in Money in the Bank this year. To me, she feels like the ultimate dark horse to take the briefcase. I mean, you never know. I mean, they could pull the rug out from under us. We could say, oh, it's going to be Asuka, it's going to be Shayna, or it's going to be so-and-so. Could you imagine if Dana actually pulls this thing off?
Oh, I would go nuts.
Of course you would.
You know I would lose it. You know I love her. You know she's one of my personal favorites.
I was about to mention that. You're absolutely right. I mean,
yeah.
If you haven't been watching our shows over the last few years, MF has made it very clear, and it's been well documented. MF definitely has a thing for Dana Brooke, and I'm not at all surprised. I mean, she's a beautiful woman, and of course, not just for her beauty, but also because of her athletic ability. I mean, she is a power lifter as well. She's done some amazing things with that. I've seen some of her powerlifting moments, amazing stuff. But yeah, I mean, I haven't really been high on her as a wrestler. I mean, I always thought she was one of those bottom tier workers, but out of all of us here, the only person that's even given her a chance has actually been MF. And MF would go nuts because, I mean, not just for, her beauty and ability, but it's also because, she's a SmackDown girl. So it would be a big shot in the arm for Friday Night SmackDown. God knows they could use one, but you never know. You never know. I still don't think she has a snowball's chance of winning. I still think me personally, I think right now it's a 2-horse race, and it's both from Raw. I think it's still between Asuka and Shayna. That's just my opinion. But 2.5 stars, though. I mean, solid. This ended up. Yes, it was a short match, but for what we got, it was kind of fun for the most part. And hey, kudos to Dana, biggest win of her career to this point. But it could lead to an even bigger win at Money in the Bank. And how happy would that make MF should that happen? Think about that, MF, as we move on.
All right. The next thing we had, was one of the most highly anticipated segments in a little bit. Fire and Desire finally got to basically hatch everything out. They laid everything out on the table tonight, and woo-wee! Sonya, you were the MVP of this segment. My goodness, you played the heel role to the T, and boy, did you unleash. Opening firing on Mandy Rose, basically throwing her under the bus. Like, she threw her right over and ran her over and basically called her a centerfold bitch. Yes, I know this show's is a little bit of it's supposed to be PG rated, but if Fox can get away with it, I sure as heck could get away with this. Dee Woodson, I think we can definitely say Fire and Desire are no more because my goodness, the fur was flying tonight.
Oh yeah, it got to be some sort of I guess you could say a cat fight with these ladies. And I believe Sonya really showed her true colors tonight, and instead of playing like she didn't do anything wrong, I think she really showed tonight that she was the backbone in causing the wedge between Mandy and Otis. So yeah, this was, I thought, a really good segment. And in the end, I mean, you really got to see, Otis and Mandy, on top. But of course, Sonya, this was definitely the heel turn. She's definitely gone the bad route. So yeah, not much more I'm going to say about it, but we're definitely going to be seeing either a mixed match coming up with this or something, because it could end up being two separate matches. I don't know, but we've got something coming up, and it's going to be big in this storyline. So yeah, not much more I'm going to say. It's yours, Fletch.
Yeah, no, this was awesome. This was, look, it needed to happen, and the thing is, this was bubbling a little bit. If you've been watching social media lately, from WWE The Bump, Mandy Rose and Otis were on this week with Kayla and the guys, and they talked briefly about it. Then on top of that, Maria Menounos and her podcast, Mandy was on that show. Sonya actually actually called in, and there was some tempers flaring between the two women. So you knew that you could cut the anticipation with a knife, stealing a quote a la Gorilla Monsoon, and now tonight was the ultimate payoff. The explosion of Fire and Desire right before our very eyes. I gotta say, out of all of the storylines that SmackDown has actually done, believe it or not, this has been one of the best ones that SmackDown can hang their hat on. This has been an excellent storyline. There's been a lot of drama, a lot of stuff going on. They really been playing it really well from when they revealed, from I think the ultimate work has been the last few weeks, from the reveal of Sonya being responsible for the date at Valentine's, to WrestleMania, and now to this implosion. This has been one of the best intriguing storylines we've had in WWE, and there's really nothing more to add. So yeah, Anthony Florio, it's all yours.
Segment of the night. There's no question
I
about
don't think there's I don't think there's any there's no disagreement here.
If I had to give a grade for this, it would be a solid A. No question about it. I mean, the mid card has struggled to tell strong, compelling stories with any talent for several years now. But this story continues to land no matter who is involved. Sonya Deville, MF, you nailed it. She was the MVP of the segment. You're absolutely spot on. Sonya Deville cut a scathing promo, far and away the best of her career. It reshaped the way this story will develop. And it also made Deville and Ziggler more interesting as heels. While Mandy's former partner wants to take her down, the show-off wants to win her back. And I think Dolph will likely turn on Mandy when he realizes that Mandy has truly chosen Otis instead of him. But as to where this could lead, Didi was wondering where this could lead. There's only one place this can lead, Didi. I think it's going to be at Money in the Bank. I think we're going to get a mixed tag. I think it's going to be Otis and Mandy against Dolph and Sonya. I think it'll go down at Money in the Bank. Wouldn't surprise me if they do that. Maybe over the next couple of weeks, maybe they do individual matches where they'll probably both have clunky finishes because, all hell's going to break loose during both matches. I'm sure we'll get a return match with Otis and Dolph with both ladies out there, and then vice versa when Sonya and Mandy throw down. They'll probably have Dolph and Otis out there in their corners, and then they'll both end in DQ finishes and really let the fur fly. And it could end up being, should it go down, it could end up being one of the greatest mixed tag team matches of all time based on how well this story has actually been built. I mean, this really started as like a running gag comedy storyline, and now this thing has gotten serious, it's gotten personal, and this has been one of the most this is the sleeper angle in wrestling today, in any promotion, bar none. And I got to give credit where credit is due to Bruce Pritchard, Brother Love, and the executive and the creative team of SmackDown. I got to give you guys credit. You're doing a great job with this. I mean, I went from being like, this is one of those campy comedy type things. But now this has become very serious and it's becoming and it's added a personal element to it. I'm loving it. Well done. So really nothing more to say. I mean, this was the segment of the night, hands down. Michael Bullock, I mean, as we always like to say, damn, Sonya, tell us how you really feel.
Yeah, she definitely showed her true colors. I guess we can say, guys, she never really was that close with Mandy Rose. I guess she was just jealous of Mandy Rose and thinking that she could have done better and with Dolph Ziggler. But as you could tell, Otis and Mandy are very happy. So yeah, and this is going to go down at Money in the Bank with Otis and Mandy against Dolph and Sonya. So yeah, segment of the night. I mean, there's really nothing more to say. So let's move on, Fletch.
The next fight that we have was a qualifying match for the men's Money in the Bank ladder match. It was Daniel Bryan going one-on-one with Cesaro, the winner of the bout, in 14 minutes and 30 seconds. Daniel Bryan is going to Money in the Bank. All right. You can definitely say this is one of the fights of the night. You could call it fight of the night as well. this was a great match, man. This was at least 3.5 stars, 3 3/4. Had a great story, good matchup. Both men were going for it. But for Daniel Bryan to make Money in the Bank, to get in, the right decision. I think a lot of people are going to be very excited for Daniel to get in there. Of course, they're going to be a little worried for him because of ladder matches and everything else, with especially with his health and everything else going on. But they're happy. They gotta be ecstatic. And now Daniel is gonna be going to Titan Towers in Stamford to fight for the briefcase. And who knows? With a win, if he does win it, he could be one step away, or one big win away from once again ruling either SmackDown or Raw or even NXT as the champion. So we'll have to wait and see what happens. And I know the Yes Movement is very excited now, to say the very least. So Anthony Florio, it's yours. 3.5 to 3 3/4. Fight of the night for me. But more importantly, Daniel Bryan is going to Money in the Bank.
Yes, indeed, MF. Absolutely. Spot on again. That's the exact rating I had going in. 3.5 to 3 3/4 of a star. Absolutely correct. This was the fight of the night. I'm not at all surprised. I mean, were you guys surprised? Look who was in there, for goodness sakes. Cesaro and Bryan always deliver. So this was as good as one would hope for a thrown together match with no crowd from two of the best in WWE. The two kept the pace up. The sequences between the two were so smooth, yet the action was equally physical. In the end, the planet's champion and the leader of the Yes Movement had to win. He adds more excitement to the men's Money in the Bank ladder match. For me personally, it's a shame that both of these guys cannot be in it, because they would add so much to the bout. They really would. And as far as what we're going to see when it comes to the men's and women's Money in the Bank ladder matches, both taking place at Titan Towers in Stamford. I mean, starting on the ground floor and working their way up, literally climbing the corporate ladder and having it on the roof. I can honestly say, I'll be honest, going into the Money in the Bank pay-per-views every year, I get excited about it. I mean, the Money in the Bank ladder match is one of the most fun matches in WWE. I mean, since its inception all the way back at WrestleMania 21, when Edge won that, and every subsequent Money in the Bank ladder match that's followed, whether it was those first several matches at WrestleMania, and then since 2010 when it got its own pay-per-view. I mean, I'm always excited about this match, but I can honestly say with what they announced tonight, I'm probably the most intrigued I've ever been for a Money in the Bank ladder match. I mean, my excitement was always right there, but now that considering the circumstances we're going to have this time around, my excitement level for both bouts have just gone sky high. And both of these matches could steal the dang show. So, can Daniel Bryan become a two-time winner like his good friend CM Punk? We'll have to find out. Only time will tell. But a great first representative for Friday Night SmackDown. We'll see who Raw will add come Monday night when we have those three big matches, which we'll address on Ridiculously Raw Monday night. But for right now, 3.5 to 3 3/4 of a star, fight of the night. There's no question about it. Technical wrestling at its finest. I mean, you know how much I love technical scientific wrestling, and this was a Tony special right here between two of my personal favorite guys. So, well done, gentlemen. I knew you guys had it in you. So, yeah, come on, you can come in now, Michael Bullock. You're absolutely you were right to come in. So, 3.5 to 3 3/4 of a star. And Bullock, you and I, we love technical wrestling. We've loved it since our childhood.
Mm-hmm.
Since the days of Flair and Steamboat. Those were the two who inspired our love of it. And Bryan and Cesaro, they do what they do best. That was technical wrestling at its finest, man. Loved it.
Oh yeah, it was definitely technical wrestling at its finest, and these two, I mean, certainly delivered here. 3.5 to 3 3/4 of a star. I mean, it was certainly one that I certainly enjoy as a wrestling fan, no doubt about it in my mind. And Daniel Bryan punching his ticket to Money in the Bank, and there's a little, and Florio, who was the referee for this match?
Oh, and that made it even better. Our boy, the one and the only,
Mr. Danilo Infibio.
Infibio.
But yeah, all in all, I mean, this was definitely a great match. I mean, I'll tell you, I mean, if you had a crowd there, you know they would have gone nuts for this one. So yeah, there's really nothing more to say. Let's just give it to Dee Woods and
Yeah, this is definitely 3.5 to 3.75 of a star match. These guys work great with each other. It was hard hitting and compelling, and it just it just was really good the way they worked with each other and how they handled the match. It went the right amount of time, and I think in the end we did have the right man win. So yeah, it's great to know now who the first for SmackDown is. Congratulations to Daniel, and yeah, it's just not much more I'm gonna say. Just great match. It was really good. So it's yours, Fletch.
All right. Well, and then after that, there was a beatdown angle. King Corbin jumping Elias. Okay. And there was a couple of matches announced, guys. Next week on SmackDown, Drew Gulak goes one-on-one with King Corbin, and Lacey Evans goes one-on-one against Sasha Banks. Both of them are Money in the Bank qualifying matches. Also, there will be a SmackDown, a WWE Women's Tag Team title fight next week as Dana Brooke and Carmella will go up against the champions Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross. Yes, guys, you heard me right. The titles are on the line. Very special edition of SmackDown next week. That led us to the main event, as it was The Miz versus Jey Uso versus Big E, and the SmackDown Tag Team titles were on the line. As you guys know, it was Jimmy Uso versus John Morrison versus Kofi Kingston at WrestleMania, and they actually fought for the titles, and Morrison won the titles in the ladder match at WrestleMania. Tonight on SmackDown Live, the winners of the bout in 7 minutes and 45 seconds was Big E, which means, ladies and gentlemen, the winners of the bout and new SmackDown Tag Team Champions, the New Day. They have won the titles for the 8th time. Anthony Florio, history has been made.
Yes. Oh, every time I hear you say that, man, I always get the goosies. You know me. But anyways, yes, history indeed made. I would probably give this about 2.5 to 3. It was a solid but rushed main event. After so much buildup, it was odd that more time was not given to these teams to deliver. All three competitors have chemistry and delivered as they could with time. And it was interesting to give the title to New Day now, especially in this format. It certainly sets up nicely for the eventual return of Xavier Woods. However, the original idea seemed to be WWE reestablishing The Miz and John Morrison as a dominant team, like we saw right around 2007, 8, 9, back in the right around the start of the PG era. So, yeah. So, yes, indeed. A very surprising outcome. I did not expect Big E to win, but hey, New Day wins it again. They're now the 8-time champs. And also and another moment for MF. I mean, not only did you just give me the goosies when you did the history has been made, a la Gorilla Monsoon, but the way you did that and new perfect. I mean, the Fink just smiled down on you from heaven, man. That's all there is to say on that. He just smiled down on you. So he was like, well done. Well done. So that's all I can say on that. Epic. So that's a vintage MF Fink impression that I remembered since our childhood days. So well done, man. Well done. So nothing more to say. 2.5 to 3. And Michael Bullock, they did it. So they are now, for the 8th time, you want to do it. Your
WWE
World
Smack
Tag
Team Champions.
And we all know why.
Because
New
Day Rocks.
New Day Rocks. Hit it.
New
Day.
That's for you, Xavier. So, yeah, 2.5 stars is my rating as well. I mean, I thought it would get more time. I mean, since it was the main event, but all in all, I mean, despite that, I mean, it was a good match. So, yeah, there's nothing more to say. Dee Woodson, it's yours.
I'm actually going to hit it with 3 stars. I thought it was a good match, had nice energy. And for it being a triple threat match for tag team titles, and you only have one competitor out there for each team. I mean, that was it was pretty well done and everything. And congratulations to New Day. You're 8 times now. So yeah, I don't really have anything real negative to say about it. So it's yours, Fletch.
Yeah, no, this was shocking. I did not think New Day was going to win it. I honestly did not think New Day was going to win the belts again, but they did it. 8 time now, they're the tag team champions of the world. This is and the thing is, for Big E, this is a huge moment for him. He's the one that got the belts. He's the one that brought it home. Kofi absolutely going beside himself. Xavier losing his mind. In the up down studio, wherever he was absolutely going bonkers. This was an awesome moment. Crowning of new champions, always awesome on SmackDown Live. And also nice for it to happen on network TV. Not very often you get to see a title change on free TV, but it happened here tonight. So, no, this is awesome. Very good way to close the show. No doubt about that. Michael Bullock, your final thought.
Oh, it's final thoughts, right?
It's just final thoughts. Yep, go ahead.
All right. Yeah, I just was caught up there. So, yeah, I thought it was an all right show. I mean, especially after what we saw with new champions being crowned of course, the New Day, and the way the storyline was going with the excuse me, with Otis and Mandy, and of course Dolph and Sonya. So, and you continue to set the table for both Money in the Bank ladder matches. So, and of course now we know Braun's going to be defending the Universal title against Bray Wyatt, but now we also know now it's going to end. It really is going to be Bayley defending the SmackDown Women's title against Tamina at Money in the Bank. So that's official now. So yeah, so there's really nothing more to say on this. So Fletch, it's yours.
Well, actually, let's get Dee Woodson in. Dee, it's yours there.
The overall review, is that what we're doing?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, this was a fairly good show. It had its highs, it had its lows. A lot of questions still coming out in the end, especially with the poster for Money in the Bank, and kind of wondering how the ladder. They're going to fight through Titan Tower, so I'm kind of curious how this is going to work for the ladder match, and with and how they're going to suspend the titles actually above the building. So I guess we'll find out all that as we get closer on how they plan on working this. But yeah, I still think it was a fairly good show. I could say probably 6.5 to 7 stars for the show. It was fairly good. I mean, the only major low point was the Sheamus match. That was definitely I would say the worst fight of the night. So yeah, not much else I'm going to say about it. Great build up, good storyline progression. Yeah, they left some questions, but that's something that's good to do, because then it makes people want to come back and watch more and see if they can find the answers maybe next week or the week after. So yeah, I mean, great the way they're starting to build the pay-per-view. So not much more I'm going to say. I'm going to head out. So good night, guys.
Good night, Dee Dee. I agree with what Dee Dee said. I thought it was a very good show. Look, having the Money in the Bank qualifying matches were great. It helps out. It makes the thing a lot more interesting. And then behind that, for the title change to happen, very newsworthy show, without a doubt. I think it definitely will help us down the line. That was definitely something more enjoyable to say. And now we just got to see what happens next. I like it. I think it was good enough. And now, well, we'll see what SmackDown does. They got some momentum now. It looks like they've turned the corner a little bit. Look, it's not the best shows. It's not a home run hit, but at least it's better than the utter garbage we were having earlier in the year. At least I can say it, for the first time in a long time, we've had back-to-back weeks of solid, pretty good SmackDowns. I'm actually happy. Anthony Florio, it's yours.
And there's one thing you forgot to mention when it comes to next week's show, and I'm very surprised considering how much you worship this man, Triple H.
That's right.
Anniversary.
That's right.
So you got the game coming, MF. I mean, on your show, your boy, your all-time guy, Triple H. I mean, one of I heard you cooing over there. I mean, I know how big a deal that is, man. I mean, it's not often you get the namesake of this show, the Cerebral Assassin, on the actual show. So I know MF's gonna eat that one up, considering how big a Triple H fan he has been all this time, especially in the Evolution days. But that's another story. But anywho, yeah. I mean, SmackDown, you guys are getting better. I mean, you're definitely moving in the right direction. I'm very happy about that. I mean, I want to see, I want to get those competitive juices flowing between Raw and SmackDown again. And this week, SmackDown was really solid and better than recent weeks. They kept focused on building the Money in the Bank pay-per-view, some good wrestling, and got a title change in the main event, which was very surprising. It might be disputed, leading to a triple threat. Maybe we get another triple threat to pay-per-view this time with both teams in action. So we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, Bryan and Cesaro, man, what can you say? That was amazing. They stole the dang show. Imagine if that had been in front of a crowd. That would have been even better. But they delivered. The Sonya Mandy face-to-face segment, that was the segment of the night. Sonya Deville, MVP of that one. Well done. And took a nothing storyline and turned it into one of the more intriguing storylines in recent memory. And then the big announcement, of course, about Money in the Bank. And I found the photo of it. I'll show you it after we go off the air because I don't want to risk getting MF in trouble. So that's really all I can say on that. So if I were to give it a rating, I would be right there with what Didi said, 6.5 to 7, no question about it. So MF, be encouraged, man. I mean, your show's definitely turning the corner, and you're putting forth your best efforts at a very good time. Couldn't have picked a better time to do it. So there's nothing more to say except let's wrap this bad boy up.
All right, and we will. Like I said, thank you very much for everybody who is a part of the show tonight. Didi Woodson, Michael Bullock, Anthony Floyo. Monday night, we do it all over again. We're Ridiculously Raw at 11 p.m. Eastern. Wednesday night, special start time of 10 p.m. We're going to do Wednesday Night Mayhem. And then Friday night, we will do a Cerebral Smack Talk again on this very network. We're going to do it again at 10 p.m. Eastern 1 week from tonight. Now, for all you people who are wondering about the NFL draft, I was going to do a live broadcast of it on Thursday, but now I'm thinking I might hold off and just do it like we've always done it the week after, giving our thoughts on the draft on Thursday night at 10 p.m. It's probably going to be around 10 p.m.
Yes.
For that event. So we might do that at 10. So we'll wait and see what happens.
So the week after.
Yeah, it looks like I might do week after. So I don't know.
That's your birthday, by the way.
If it is, but we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out, and we'll go from there. So nothing more to say. For all of us here, for Anthony Floyo, for Michael Bullock, I'm going to limit Michael Fletcher. In spirit, Didi Woodson, and Michael Bullock, thank you so much, everybody, and so long for now.